and you built important friendships and brotherhoods, and so just for the record, in terms of the personal aspect with Julius Malema, where does that sit now?
I think so if you were to go to the interview that we did in the when I was still in the EFF, and then you asked me the question, what is the relationship with the president of the EFF? I said this political relationship, actually made an emphasis on, it's a political relationship that we had. And of course, because we work in the same spaces, we'll end up doing so many things together. If there's a family gathering, you'll get to know and then support each other and all of those things there. But the relationship was political relationship. And
that's interesting.
That is how it is. And I have no bad feelings about anyone, like generally. Leave the people that I work with. Generally, I don't have any personal feelings against anyone. Like I relate far much easier with comrades in the ANC. Like I talk to everyone. Like I'll talk to the comrades that we led with in the ANC Youth League. I talk to Andile Lungisa. I talked to Lebogang Maile for a very long time on the phone. I talked to Lamula, like about so many issues. I talked to everyone. Like I get to have political discussions with them, even if we're in different political organizations. I still talk to some of the comrades in the EFF, except those who feel like they might be doubted for having engagements with me. I don't have problems with anyone, but I'm able to distinguish that there's a political relationship and like so-called brotherhood and everything else. Because sometimes this so-called brotherhood, it's not brotherhood. It borders on gangsterism, a gangster relationship that we're together. If a person is wrong, we can't call each other to order. Like you defend each other even when a person is doing wrong things, is now venturing into wrong politics of being boastful and doing wrong things in public and everything else, and disrespecting people, and then you don't say anything because of brotherhood. They then become instruments for self-enrichment, like where the leaders, they utilize the political parties for self-enrichment and some status like that. No, I'm the president of what? Of some small organization which you won't take power. It's those are some of the weaknesses. You must be able to call out certain things, that this is unacceptable and everything else. And if you realize that, so those things of the personal relationship can't override a political principle in the relations with everyone. So if a comrade misbehaves or does things which you realize that this is wrong, you must be able to call each other to order. Like it's not gangster relationship where you say, we'll die together. It doesn't work like that. And by the way, this characterization, I used to say this when we were in the National Executive Committee of the ANC Youth League. So, Pulemabe was the Treasurer General of the ANC Youth League. So I used to say to the president of the ANC Youth League now, current president of the EFF, that me and you are going to be buried next to each other.
Wow.
All the time. And then later on he went to engage in other activities, like to collaborate with those who were dealing with him. Now I used to say that, I'll never say that. I'll never. Like, if it's a political relationship, like you can't promise to die next to each other in a political relationship. It's based on principle.
Sure.
If principle shifts, then we no longer relate the same way that we related before. So if you realize that there's certain areas of just divergence from what should define a revolutionary, you must be able to say, but this is not what I signed up for. This is not the character which I thought we're dealing with. And the progressive forces whose umbilical cords are buried in the same yard would constitute more than 2/3 of
Absolutely.
the politics in South Africa today.
Yeah, as we stand today.
It's so unfortunate that the opportunity to do that was not pursued, and largely for subjective reasons. I wasn't like.
Why do you think that was? Because
No,
I mean,
so
you're one of the people who would have seen this.
Yeah,
afterwards.
it's also the misreading and the ego issues that were at play, and like that. No, you cannot talk to me like that. You cannot do this. I can show you. I can just go and do it as I wish, and everything as this. I was involved in the negotiations,
Absolutely.
like, far much more intimately, and I know that this ANC-D alliance is not a result of a principled decision. It's subjective considerations that were at play. And it's so sad that we had subjective considerations that got to override principle altogether. Yeah. So the manner in which it was handled was unfortunate. And it speaks to the political and ideological maturity of the leadership in general, in all formations, in terms of what got to happen. Principle and overwhelmed objectivity in terms of how coalition politics could have been handled differently. Because like you can't, for instance, be a senior leader of a political party, like, and then your characterization of another political party, black political party, which has got upward of 2.5 million, and say, that is Zuma Stokvel. And loosely like that. Like the disrespect that you show to the people, like you, and then all sorts of slander that is being utilized. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't help anyone. It's possibly maybe what part of the reasons why some of these parties are losing electoral relevance is because of the manner in which you characterize the politics is conclusively wrong. So we need a different conjecture and discourse of politics which are defined by maturity and discussion of principle. What is our common agenda? Who do we interest? What are the interests of the people? How do we commonly pursue them in terms of what is required? Not these subjective issues and everything else. Like it's tiring. It's actually disheartening. I would encourage everyone who is like to speak against as such. And you know what is even a much more tragic situation? They think it's revolutionary to throw insults at people. Like take a platform, say so and so is this, so and so is that. Like, and talking about body parts of people, this person has got a big head, this one has got a big nose, this one doesn't walk properly. Like it's where is Marxism in that? Where's Lenin in that? Like no, Lenin was the most robust of like revolutionary leaders. He would characterize the politics of his opponents. Nowhere in his characterization of any one of his opponents, even the worst of opponents, did he describe their physical appearance. Like it's one of the things which, as a generation, we have to suppress